Welcome to the Now Debate. It's been a while since we've broadcasted an episode of the Now Debate due to various things that have been going on. You are listening to myself, Jared Walters. I am here again with my esteemed colleague from Pontypridd in South Wales, Richard Oliver. How are you?
Alright.
And the topic for this week, we're going to talk a little bit about quite a few things. Some housekeeping first of all. The channel is going to be changing. This is broadcasted on, so we might be moving this to the Paranormal Now YouTube channel. We're not entirely sure yet, but there will still be stuff going on this channel, so we might keep the Now Debate there. But there will be some more updates as to how this channel's doing. But you will also be able to find this on Richard's Facebook page. It's facebook.com/paranormal now. I've also launched a new website this week called Worlds Awakening. Worldsawakening.com is a place if you are into paranormal, esoteric, metaphysical, spiritual, and you want to find out or add events and blogs and videos, etc. Share your work, share what you're doing, that's the site for you, and I'll leave the links to that in the description below. So, Richard, conversation today is going to be about ufologies, aliens, ET, extraterrestrials, the very strange activity that's been going on in Antarctica as of late, with Mr. Buzz Aldren apparently, and I say apparently because I didn't see it firsthand, tweeting that essentially they are evil and we're all doomed, and with a photo of a pyramid in Antarctica. We've actually looked into the information for ourselves, and there's a possible link with, what was it, Operation
High Jump.
Operation High Jump. So yeah, I'm going to hand it over to you to just brief us on some things regarding this, and we'll talk about some personal cases that we've had as well.
Well, it's one of the biggest topics, isn't it? I mean, you can go around the internet and look what people are interested in, and UFOs is always going to be probably in the top, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll talk about some of our experiences, and hopefully, once you listen to this, if you've got any to share,
please let us know.
Yeah.
paranormalnow.co.uk or facebook.com/paranormalnow. We will be adding a new submission form for people who experience UFOs and actively looking to investigate those cases as well.
Yeah.
Alright with that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, should we start?
Start with the Antarctica news, I think would be the best. Yeah. Well, we've just basically been researching it now because we thought we'd be using it for this. So let's give some initial reaction, because literally we found out about like 10 minutes ago.
Well, an interesting point which we haven't had a chance to talk about because we just watched a video is one of my favourite UFO cases is the Black Knight satellite, which just happens to orbit pole to pole.
Oh right, okay.
So, the Black Knight satellite, there's a guy called Gary McKinnon, is it?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Who was the hacker that hacked into the FBI files. He is the first person. He actually found the Black Knight satellite. That's its origins. It's not many people. I've read about it. It's not real common knowledge, but in his search for UFOs, the image that came up first was the Black Knight satellite.
So what would you say, could you tell us a little bit about the Black Knight satellite for those who don't know?
Well, it's an object that has a very strange orbit.
Right.
This links with this object going as far back as to Tesla and a couple of other scientists.
Mm-hmm.
They've sent signals to it, as far as I've researched. They've sent signals to it from Antarctica. When they sent a laser at it to tell its density, and it sent a signal back down the laser. This probably sounds sci-fi, and it shut the base down. It didn't just shut it down for a couple of hours; it shut it down permanently. It's been spotted by pilots and obviously in NASA footage, and the way Gary leaked it in such a way that they couldn't take it down off the net. And I find it out of all the UFO stories, it's one of the most compelling for me. And like you said, there's this story now with Antarctica coming up. Well, the poles in general, and yeah, there's something in it. There's got to be something in it.
We had the US Secretary of State John Carey supposedly going over there. Apparently Buzz Aldren has close connections with this as well. Apparently John Carey, sorry, I was going to say Jim Carey there. John Carey has basically been going over there and under the guise of going for climate change. We've also said some of America's top military and top diplomats have been going over there.
Yeah.
But this is not the first time.
And the Ark is there as well, isn't it?
The Ark?
The Ark, the seed vault. Is it called the Ark? I'm sure it's called the Ark. It's the giant sort of safe. I think it's in Antarctica.
What's this now?
This is where they've kept all the seeds. Well, they've kept other stuff. I don't care what anyone says. They've kept all the seeds of Earth, all the food, and all the plant life, and they've stored it there for safekeeping. And it's a public thing. It's a nation. You know, it's
Treaty like.
Yeah, nations have put their bit into it. Like, it's cost millions, and yeah, it's in Antarctica. So there's so much going on. It's one of them places. It's not, you look at it on the media, but it's there could be all sorts going on there, and you're just being passed on information. Pardon me. So yeah, there's definitely something there.
Well, if you're sending your top, your Secretary of State and your top diplomats over there, military personnel, then there's got to be something. And obviously, you've got those holes that essentially go into the Earth. This pyramid. Now you can actually look at this pyramid on Google Earth. I'll put, actually, as we're going over this, I'll put some pictures up. I'll put one of the Black Knight satellite, one of this pyramid. But when we actually see the one that Buzz Aldrin, it looks like part of the mountain.
Yeah,
but
like
and then you look at it on Google Earth, and it's there's no any. It looks, you can compare it with the pyramids at Giza, and it's a really stark comparison. And it's quite interesting how pyramids are linked. This is what I'm finding at the moment with my study of ufology, because it's not just obviously seeing unidentified flying objects. You've got people that have physical encounters, the alien abduction phenomena. You have people that have more sort of spiritual encounters through like channeling, through psychically gaining information, or even encounters with what's commonly known as extra-dimensional beings. You've obviously got the whole David Icke reptilian thing as well, as part of the sort of the ethos of it all. You've got crop circles, cattle mutilations. So it's a vast military cover up. It's a vast subject area, of which it is something that's quite crazy how diverse, but how much it links together with different things. It's like go on.
Well, Antarctica itself, I mean, as they know, it is a wealth of natural resources.
Yeah.
But it's no one's allowed to take claim to it.
Yeah.
It's got to be left untouched. It's we look at the world, right, with forest devastation and different parts, with
the oceans, oil spills,
everything. Where they've made solar panels, they've destroyed civilizations of solar panels. Do you know what I mean? They've cultures and tribes they've killed over this. So it does seem a bit strange that such a place that is so inhospitable would be guarded in such a way. Do you know what I mean? It does. It has a bit. That has a bit of validity to the sort of, there's something there.
Definitely.
So yes, well, I mean, you can watch. I know you can go on Google and you can watch. They've got a base out there, and you can watch that 24 hours a day. It's sort of like the space station type of thing.
Yeah.
And there's been a few. I've seen myself. There's been a few mysterious things on that with different images. The sort of people have captured and different things. There's some, but. Yeah, I mean, if anywhere in the world, Antarctica, the poles would be, do you mean an ideal location to keep things secret? So, yeah, I think there's stuff going on there. I really do.
This is going to be section 1 of our UFO research files, because I think it's such a big subject.
Yeah.
And we currently been crawling through the CIA's CREST database release. We found there's an interesting story that we've posted onto the Paranormal Now website as part of the CIA's, and this is literally from, we'll give you the link, put the link in the description below. It's literally from the CIA's official website. It's a released document as part of the CREST document, which basically has all different CIA files dealing with stuff like just all different files from like the 1960s to like the late 90s, early noughties. And it basically you can search, it's searchable, so you can look for UFOs, you type the word alien. But one of the most telling things is the remote viewing stuff is on there. I've been looking a lot into the remote viewing things, and I'm going to do some exposés on this channel. I think this is what this channel is probably going to mostly be about moving forward, is looking at looking at more research based topics and development based topics. But this interestingly was one of the stories that was broken by a YouTube channel called Security 10, and they shared all the official documentation to go with it. It's about a psychic that was part of a remote viewing experiment that was going for was going on at the time, and he was handed an envelope, and this envelope just had a set of coordinates, longitude and latitude on there, and the psychic was asked to remote view these coordinates and say what he found there, and he described 2 pyramids. And they asked, right, I want you to go back through time and let me know what happened there. And he pointed to, I think it was either like a million years BC, right? It's either a million or 1,000. I'll have to double check. But he went back to, I think it was a million years BC. And he said you could see this civilization after a cataclysmic disaster had happened there. That essentially this civilization was struggling for life, and eventually the last remnants of them got taken away to a different home via what looks like a spaceship. So the psychic was then told to open the envelope, and the coordinates were basically on Mars. They weren't on Earth. And if you tap those coordinates into Google Earth, you can basically see what the psychic saw, which is the Saigon area, which is the face on Mars, which people have seen, and you can actually see what the remnants of what was described. So it's very interesting how this sort of link with pyramids comes in with it all. I even found a link between crop circles and I believe it is definitely a link between crop circles and the Mandela effect. We were talking about this in episode 1. One of the things that I believe I mentioned this during the Mandela Effect episode that we did, that's episode 1 if you guys want to go and take a look at it, was I seen what was like a cube, a 3-dimensional cube, and it was expanding into what was like a spiral or circle. And one of the crop circles, a lot of the crop circles, that's one of the symbols, geometric symbols that come through, is the square going into the circle. And what I picked up about that is part of the thing of the Mandela effect, part of the reason why it's expanded at such a high rate is because it's linked to our consciousness expanding. And a lot of the crop circles pre-2012 had a lot of Mayan symbolism in there, which translated a lot about the spiritual awakening of humanity. So since then we've had many messages again. We've even had ones that have been like faces. We had the response to that, the probe response crop circle, which I'll put up on screen now, which was a direct response to a satellite that was sent out to try and communicate with intelligent life that had this pattern on the side of it. And I think you told me, didn't you? Only four or so people knew about this.
Only 4 people in the world actually knew what that image was. It was, it was done purposefully.
So what? Go on.
Well, going back to the UFO, what should we? Let's talk about something that's close to home. I mean, crop circles, right?
Right.
He was on about crop circles. How many we have, like in sort of like Glastonbury, Avebury, them sort of areas.
Stonehenge. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Sacred sites.
Yeah, sacred sites. Right. Well, some of the UFO cases in Wales are so profound that, I mean, just the ones on our doorstep. I mean, everyone's the ones that we all know about, Area 51 and
Ardell,
all these. For example, Leckwith in Cardiff, so unknown, right?
You can't even find it on a Google search.
You can't find nothing about it. You can't find nothing. You'd have to go through library archives and look into the newspapers.
Yeah.
Because it did make the newspaper.
Right.
Because obviously it was reported, the way it was. I mean, police officers witnessed this, which is basically a story of a UFO landed in Leckwith in Cardiff. The beings actually got out. This was witnessed. Did whatever they were doing. Did some experiments and some stuff. They had obviously. This was, this went on. This wasn't just like a brief couple of seconds thing. This went on for a good, nearly an hour. They got back in their craft and off they went. Now, I know people have tried to contact us when, quite a few years ago. We're still traumatized by this. Still traumatized by this vision, this thing that they experienced. Now, a story like that should change the world. It should be, it should be like, you should talk about it all the time. You should be talking in schools. This is what happened in our local village. And it's just crazy how a story like that can just disappear into the ether.
Why do you think that is then? Why do you think it's not been kept alive? Or why do you think there's all these other different sightings and stuff, even like around, like Rendlesham Forest or in Barney Hill?
Yeah. The one that happened in Penalta.
Right.
Which involved a family member of mine.
Right.
This is going back in the 60s. Early 70s, late 60s. A bunch of kids were playing in Penalta Pit. UFO come out of the pit. And this was witnessed by an entire village. Hovered over the children while they run away, obviously because they were absolutely terrified. Hovered above the pit. Was witnessed by, because the kids were obviously screaming, people come out their doors as you would. And it was, they'd be talking, there's probably a couple of hundred witnesses to this. And it was just dismissed out the hand. Just completely, they said, it was this, they said it was that, they said it was gas coming from the pit, it was... And I know from, what I've been told firsthand by a witness, it was there two witnesses who was there, and it wasn't gas. They know what they saw.
Have we got any of those witnesses around today?
Yeah.
Would they be interested to talk on camera about it?
Probably, yeah.
Should we do that?
Yeah, we could do that, yeah. Yeah.
Alright.
That's doable.
See if we can get that on camera, because that'd be something we can it'd be good. If any of you guys listen to this now, because we'll put Welsh UFO case, etc. in the title, okay? If you have any information about any UFO cases in Wales, please let us know. If you know anything about the Leckwith case or the Penalta case, please let us know, because it'd be very interesting to have your take on it, and very interesting to, there's quite a it's quite interesting how things kind of tie together around Wales. It's crazy when
the one that happened in, the name always escapes me, but the one that landed on the bridge and now was leaked in the Churchill files. Landed on a bridge, beings got out, went down to the river, did some tests, took some samples, got back in their ship, off they went. That one is more mainstream. That one is sort of in the public domain.
It is somewhere actually. Is that like in Cardiff or somewhere?
No, that's something. I think it's in North Wales. I think. It just escapes me the name every time. Stupid, really. But there's a couple of cases. This of massive sightings, real, life-altering sightings that are just fade into nothingness. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, we all know that the usual, like we said, the Area 51s. We all know them stories, but these stories are massive. Like these, and they just it blows my mind. I mean, I spoke to the UFO Society of America. They come over here, and I witnessed the UFO sighting in 2008.
Which one was that now?
The big triangle UFO, humongous triangle UFO that went from here or across England over to like Suffolk or something like that. Was witnessed by thousands of people, and I saw the object in the sky, and I was just about to get in a taxi, and the taxi driver asked me what I was looking at. He got up to the taxi and said, and he looked and he was like, "What is that?" First of all, like, be honest with you, I thought it was 3 lanterns, because it was 3 triangle. It was in a triangle shaped lights. I thought it was lanterns, maybe, with wood between them. And then when I looked at it and thought, wow, that's really far away, and there was no light in the middle, so whatever it was a triangle, and it stopped exactly where it was, did a complete spin on itself, and then just carried on going across. And it was the size of, when I grasped how far away it was, the size of this thing and the way it moved was just incredible. It was just mind-blowing. And when they come over here, they contacted us, so we went and had a chat with them, and they were interested in the St. Athens one, where the police helicopter chased the object over to Bristol.
Wasn't that recently? It was like 2011 or something.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. No, that was around the 2008.
No, it was 2000. Yes, I remember. I was actually working at the BBC back then.
Yeah,
I remember that actually happened.
And we all know the story. It was a lantern caught in the downdraft of the helicopter, as it had to have been, even though the police officer said under no circumstances was it. But yeah, we had a chat with them, and some of the stories they've got of UFO encounters, and they said the ones in Wales, because we obviously told our stories now, the ones in Wales are really quite profound. Really, they're proper, because this is witnessed by quite a few people. So, you get the odd, most of the cases you hear, there's a family in a farm and they see, UFO, and it's just them that witness it. And you get like, an interesting one is the helicopter that got buzzed by one in, I'm trying to think, is it San Francisco, I think it was. That's a mainstream story, but that was witnessed by the police in the helicopter, police on the ground, and the general public. But that's not a mainstream story. It's weird how the big stories seem to be really brushed under the carpet. Yeah. It is. But yeah, UFOs. I mean,
what cases have you done, Nana? Or what work have you done concerning not just UFOs, but you found to have an ET connection?
I've done about 14. I think it's about 14 cases where they are so similar to the abduction story. It's
well, we had the one here. You can have a look on this channel. Look for the demonic connection. It's in the paranormal playlist, this channel, and it's basically, we had an experience where we'd only recently moved into this house, and we were lying in bed, and I seen a figure at my doorway, and its head kept changing. It basically then settled on like what looked like a tall white figure that basically looked very much like the Greys, but obviously taller.
Yeah.
And it came in, and it spoke to us. We actually had, like, through telepathy, it's speaking to us, and this continued along with other activity over the course of a 3-week period.
Yeah.
As you well know, the activity escalated to quite a dramatic point.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether these beings are actually trying to warn us of what was actually here and not the ones causing it, because we never really seen them after that initial encounter. But one thing which was very scary is I remember Sam waking up screaming, and you could see the tape recording I'd done of Sam that was taken straight after, and she literally had this feeling of being taken elsewhere, though she was still physically here. which that sort of completely blew my mind.
Yeah.
At least to the best of my knowledge, she was still physically here, but taken elsewhere and being on in a white room in a ship and having beings around her. And what she would, she also would have visions for 7 months after of just like a big room with beings working on people, were on like suspended tables, on tables that are suspended without any sort of legs holding them up. And that's kind of how we learned about extra dimensionals and how that kind of phenomena fits into it. And it's just like people obviously have a lot of experience with kind of the physical phenomena, but it's also the sort of what I call extra dimensional, whether they're out of phase shift without us sort of form of cloaking, or whether it's actually a case of they are on a different plane of existence and sort of interacting with us on a more sort of spiritual level. I don't know, but you know, that's kind of my personal experience with it.
I would love to think that this, you know, this ETs, it's just got a sinister connotation to me. It's just sinister. I mean, taking people, just in that content, I mean, taking people,
yeah,
it's just bad. Without their will, when they're sleeping, it's just, I can't see any good coming out of it. I don't know. Do I think it happens? Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt, I think it happens.
What about those who actually have kind of like memories of it happening, but they haven't physically left the room then?
I think they leave the room. I think they leave the room. It's just they do something to make you think you never went anywhere. If you can take someone, put them back in their bed, and they just think they've had a dream, then you can. That's the case for the person. If there's another person there, if there's a house full of people, you know, it's simply done. If they can do that here, they can do it to all the people in the house. Which they, you know, we know people have been abducted. You know, people have been abducted from their cars. People have been abducted, you know, from all sorts of places. Like people have gone on, you know, been away camping, or they've been on holidays and they've been abducted. It doesn't stop with, you know, especially if it's happening to you. It doesn't stop if you change location.
No,
it
and
continues.
Because people have multiple abductions, and there's those you know, there's a genetic, it's like it's generational. If your mother has had it,
yeah,
you know, and
well, a good example is the case. I can't mention obviously any names, but her family had a link to the Nazis.
Which one was this now?
This is a case I did. I got really go into, you know, who it is, but.
Yeah, is this one we've done together, or is this one you've done before we started working?
Done before. I'm not sure if you've been there. You might have. This young person had her family was linked with the Nazis, and the guy was an SS officer, and he worked in the science sort of things.
Is this Jess?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Right.
I won't obviously publish that bit.
Yeah, don't say Jess, yeah. And her, all the women in the family have had this dramatic life, and they've all had these experiences of being abducted, right until now. And they've all had this weird, these like, well, just, it's too much to go into, but it is very bizarre circumstances behind pregnancies, behind illnesses, in life in general, how their lives have panned out. They're all so similar, and I believe it stems back to this SS officer, like, and the things they were involved in.
So what would you say, without obviously going into specific details with clients of which we've worked with, what would you say are some of the more commonalities that people have been experiencing, and what sort of like, what can we say about them in these different cases?
The waking up at, you know, at a specific time.
What's the common themes? That's what I was going to say.
The waking up, the missing time, are like having illnesses and they just sort of disappear overnight.
Right.
All witnessing sort of very similar things when it comes to sort of the paranormal.
Like what?
Like, for example, a tall guy wearing a long black coat.
Yeah, we I think we'll have to do an hour debate on this one specifically.
Yeah. all seen a certain sort of being. All having marks on their bodies. There's quite a few different scenarios. That's the sort of common theme of abduction.
Right.
And these people are talking about this in a paranormal content because they think they're being visited by spirits.
Right.
But when you really delve into it, get into it, it's more in common with abduction than anything else. So, I mean, I've done quite a few of them, but then I've witnessed UFOs myself. So it's a difficult thing for me as an investigator.
Yeah.
Because how do you stop something that dramatic?
Yeah.
I mean, the paranormal, we know how to sort of put the brakes on it.
Yeah.
But this stuff,
or at least we can teach people to do the things themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I told people to do if this sort of thing's happening, put sleep bots on, put the cameras on, keep them on all night, watch the image footage back, see what happens, and meditate, because I think meditation has a big thing to do with it. It's the way you control your own mind.
Yeah.
That has a big deal to do with stopping this type of thing.
Well, I'm not going to talk about how we gained this information, but we did a bunch of paranormal experiments back in 2013 when we started working together. And it felt as if we were in contact with some form of ET back then. And it's been quite interesting, with especially what's been happening now with Antarctica and other things, what's actually come out of that.
Yeah.
So there are ways in which we've actually contacted what have come through of given validation for being from another place.
Yeah.
You could see one actually on this channel. We talk about the electromagnetic field that we've been investigating. Yeah. There's the conversation that we have, and that indicates that it's from a different origin, or extraterrestrial origin, or at least a different time. Do you want to add anything about those paranormal experiments that we did?
Well, from the very first meditation I ever did, which we talked about. Yeah. Where the very first meditation in the church, I thought I was going to be taken down a lovely country path to a nice wooded area with a big tree, and I went straight out of my body, and I was in a craft of some sort, a room basically. I don't know if it was a craft. I was only after I saw it was a craft. In a room, this weird looking creature sat by a desk, sort of thing, like a keyboard sort of thing it was, and I'm thinking, what is this? Yeah. And I can remember when this thing noticed me, and when I come back from meditation, the teacher said, "Where did you go?" She said, I saw you going off, and then you disappeared. He was like, you wasn't even in the room. And I can remember trying to talk about it, and I was, you can't talk about that. You're not allowed to talk about that. And quite a few meditations, which I've told you about, but I had ET connections, and they are so similar to the work we did, to contact the ETs. They got that same message. Yeah. And it is.
What was the message?
Well, it's sort of about what's happening in the world, what's going on, what's next, who is behind what, this and that. And it was just like they had that sort of vibe to it. Yeah. And the world, there is this thing going on, there's something going on with the government and these beings and those beings, and it's got that also, you know what I mean? It all had that vibe to it. Yeah.
Well, this gentleman that people have also been seeing connected to it, I'm going to bring this up for some reason. I don't know why I feel compelled to do it at the moment. Yeah. But we're currently investigating multiple sightings. Do you mind if I bring this up?
Yeah, carry on.
It's possible there's an ET connection. It's possible there's a folklore connection. It looks like they might all be connected, actually. That's what the gentleman's of Victorian origin. We're going to show this in a future upcoming video evidence. Just to let you guys know, the paranormal evidence is going to be going over to Richard's channel. So when that is up, I will put it in the description below, but it's going to be a few weeks yet before that particular case gets put up because we're working on getting the videos done all at once. But people have been reporting, we've had about 20 to 30 reports of a spirit that I've seen him several times, you've seen him once or twice, that appears wearing Victorian dress, sometimes with a horse and cart. He has long dark hair, has a very angelic looking face, and always wears a long black coat. And as when you said you've seen him linked to extraterrestrials, people having miraculous disease cures and that kind of stuff. What sort of stuff have you learnt about him, or how does he kind of factor into this?
I've actually learned. This is the weird thing. I've actually learned nothing about him.
Right.
As what he is.
Right.
I know what he's linked to.
And what's that?
Which I've witnessed him myself. I witnessed him doing an outdoor investigation, and he's linked to. He's linked to similar things to like abduction cases that I've done. They've brought him up. They've brought him. They've mentioned this gentleman, how he looks, and described him, and what he is and what he's about, I'm really not sure. I gotta be honest with you, right? Not yet. We're
definitely getting a lot of information about it.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of information, but we're still missing that why.
Yeah.
So
if you have seen a spirit of that origin, please let us know. There'll be a blog going up tomorrow on the Paranormal website. With more detailed information about what we've been seeing and about what we have found. But this will be the first of probably what's going to be a few blogs, if not actually more content regarding this. We're going to be on this like a carbonic, and we want to know what you have seen. If you've seen a gentleman of this origin, if it's not every reporting has been around. There's not everyone has been around UFOs or ufology. Actually, quite a few haven't. Some of them have been just general spiritual contact, where they've had a really profound contact with them, where they've had like creative insights from this gentleman, where they've learnt about him. Others have basically had contact with him with regards to just like general paranormal phenomena. Other people have just seen him, like I've had him come through doing readings. I'm giving a reading for someone who's come through. So there's numerous ways in which this gentleman has basically come through. So
he does seem to be an observer more than interact with people. Like that's one thing I can say. He does seem to observe more than anything else.
I'm not entirely. A lot of people as well have linked this to the Hat Man. Now we've talked about we haven't talked about the Hat Man on this channel, but we have looked into the Hat Man before because we've had multiple sightings of him as well. Though he seems to have a different energy, because the Hat Man, the Hat Man just does seem to have a malicious energy. Have you heard of the Hat Man?
Yeah.
The Hat Man's basically, he comes from German legend. It's where the idea of Slender Man, for your video game buffs out there, like myself, or you gamers out there like myself. The Hat Man basically appears as an observer, and again around paranormal activity, around ufology. But there's also a strong sort of like demonic link with the Hat Man, which I don't find with this gentleman. Would you agree, or?
Yeah, I'm not picked up. I mean, personally, I'm because of the nature of the things we do, I just find it a bit sinister anyway to observe. I just find it sinister. I can't help it. It's just my nature.
Yeah.
It just seems, it's a bit like weird and not seedy, but it's got that sort of connotation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't feel it's anything dark, but it's just there. It's in the back of my mind. It doesn't seem quite right to be just sort of randomly spying on people, and especially with the links to the things that these people are going through as well. That's I'm not sure. I don't want to throw it out there. We need to do more research on this man, on this figure. Sorry, I should say.
But we'll definitely be doing that, and we'll keep you updated in future versions and future episodes of the Now Debate. So, any information that you guys might have about this, and we're going to wrap that sort of side of this up. Any information you guys might have about this will definitely be worth contacting us. And again, if any of you are having any paranormal activity, the address is www.paranormalnow.co.uk to report your activity. So, with regards to people experiencing or have seen UFOs or experienced any of the stuff that we've talked about tonight, what would be your advice to them?
Well, it's like, this is how I've seen it. I've studied UFOs for years and years and years through my own experiences. If you take all the evidence of UFOs, right, all the evidence to say there is such a thing as extraterrestrials and UFOs, and you took it to court, and this is fact, you wouldn't need a solicitor. It would just, there's so much evidence. I mean, we're not talking this O.J. Simpson if the glove doesn't fit, right? This, you would win, right? There's that much evidence of UFOs and this phenomena going back such a long time. There's tapestries from the 14th century depicting UFOs, right? Just that would, if somebody showed me that, I'd be like, okay, there's such a thing as UFOs. It's just that's just one thing. It's just one thing. So the evidence is mind blowing to the fact that it's. Don't feel like, you know, you can tell there's people out there who are interested and want to listen, who've had the same experiences and want to talk about it. And there is a bit of a creepiness about it, to think that these things are buzzing around and they're keeping it to themselves. Right? It does. I'm sorry. For me, it's dark. Right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be allowed, but it's happening. There's a reason. Whether this, you know, there could be a good reason for it. But
well, if you look, go on. Sorry, I'll cut in with what I was going to say in a minute.
Yeah. Well, you know, talk about it. Tell people about it. You know, if you're having these experiences, especially if you live somewhere rural and this stuff is happening all the time. I've got quite a few friends who live in rural areas and they've experienced loads of UFO cases. You know, our own place in Brecon, in the Beacons. I mean, that's quite a UFO hotspot.
Well, if anyone wants to learn more about that, have a look at a film by Richard D. Hall called UFOs and NATO.
No. Is Brecon in that, is it?
Yeah. It's quite a lot of Richard D. Hall's work that he's done a lot of ufology stuff in Wales.
Yeah, well, I know a few people who live up there, and you know, they own farms and stuff, and the experiences they've had are crazy. So yeah, talk about it. Tell people. The more it's out there, the more you tell these stories. If all of us told our stories, people it would have to come out. They would have to come forward. Like they would have to be. They'd have to start telling the truth on it. I mean, Putin's close. I'm praying. Trump, you know, he is what he is, and he's not perfect without a shadow of a doubt. But I pray that he leaks something. He says, oh, "Look, this is what we know. What do you think of this?" I'm praying he does. It would be amazing, and I hope he said he will. But you know, we'll have to just wait and see on it. He's the type of man to do it. But you know, we need the truth now. There's so much of this going on. We need it out there, don't we?
But I think it's so linked with other things that you look at, like, you know, I think if they told the truth of that, it's what these people do when you go to the links with this is what was quite interesting is that you're looking more into like the background, the ancient alien things. So you look at what the work of David Icke has done, and you look at the ancient sort of legends of what we know as archons or the Chichahuri or these sort of things, which all link into the entire ethos of the Canadian Defence Secretary Paul Hellyer come out and basically said that, you know, there's certain races that they know of, and you know, he's one of the highest ranking. You don't get much higher than the Defence Secretary.
No.
Might be a Home Secretary or Secretary of State, but you don't really get much, you know, especially when it comes to defence. You can also research. Research is definitely a good one. But research different viewpoints. What I was going to cut in was you said about there being a good reason. What I find intriguing is what you said about this sighting of this Victorian gentleman, and the common thing about UFOs is the spontaneous healing, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't... Right, what I forgot to mention was these people also have other things, and they just sort of like appear overnight as well. Like illnesses that are quite dramatic.
Right.
So it's not... I know I said I know them to... the illnesses to disappear.
Right.
But they've also had illnesses just appear.
Is that with regards to this gentleman as well?
Yeah.
They've had that.
Yeah. And not all the abduction cases I've dealt with have had this gentleman. Some of them have.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
But again, some of the paranormal cases you have done as well.
Yeah,
so.
other than this gentleman, yeah. So, but that's what I'm saying. There's not...
Has there been ones of the illness thingy without UFO connection? Well, yeah, of course there was one in January, wasn't it? No, that was just a sighting, that was, but...
Yeah.
Has there been one with the illness thingy without the UFO connection?
No.
No. So that you could probably attribute that more to the UFO connection than you would to that person. Yeah. That's good to know. That's good to know. Right. What I was saying about... if you look at Dolores Cannon, and I've talked about Dolores Cannon before. I talked a lot about her in episode 2 when we talked about paranormal and children. But a lot of the stuff that she had through her work was by ETs. So and if you look at Simon Parkes, now when the Simon Parkes thing broke back in, you know what Simon Parkes, yeah?
Simon Parkes.
Yeah. He is remember I showed you the presentation but from him a while back, you know, about the rug, and you said Tanya had it in the school.
All right, yeah.
Right, well, Simon Parkes is a Labour councillor. I think it was for Hackney in London, and he does a bi-weekly show called Connecting Consciousness, and he came out about his ET experiences. And you can have a look at, I think it was either Capricorn TV or what's the other one? Camelot, that actually did one of the initial interviews with him, talking about his experiences with different races, astral or what seemed to him like astral experiences, and he talks a lot about the energetic grid, which we talked about in the last episode.
Yeah.
Which you also told me something interesting about the energetic grid as well. That people have been sending rockets up and they've been hitting something.
I've had a lot of flat Earth stuff coming into my awareness, and I've got to be honest, I've never been a believer in it.
No, still not.
But I am never not open to the evidence put forward, right? And there is some strangely compelling evidence. Right? Very strange indeed. And yeah, I've seen some videos on some things, and I need to look more research in it, so I'm just giving it from a sort of like a one sort of sided point of view.
Are you convinced yet? Oh no,
no.
We're still spherical, are we?
We're still spherical. I'm not saying you can't rule it out, right? You because you can't. Because I've never been to space.
Yeah.
I'm just taking what the world looks like off somebody's opinion.
Yeah.
Like NASA's, right? I mean, like that artist that painted the world, NASA took it. I mean, he's got some stuff on YouTube. His name escapes me. And he painted, and NASA took it, and he was invited to a party, and there was the Rothschilds there, and the Rockefellers, and the JP Morgans, and everyone else. And he said about this image that he painted, and they said, "Oh, don't you understand?" They said, "It's a lie. Like the world isn't round." And he went public with it. You know, he really did make waves over it. because NASA took this image that he painted, and it was like, oh, yeah. There's quite a few things that are hard to debunk, and I'll just say that on the theory, right? I've tried to explain that, yeah, we are under quarantine. There could be a grid around the Earth, right? Fair enough, there could be, right? There would be, there's quite a few reasons why that might be the case, right? And, you know, why have the Russians and why have the Americans and why have all the leaders of the world tested so many nuclear weapons in the atmosphere? What have they been firing them at? And why was there a fake moon landing? I mean, you've got the belt between us and the moon, right? My brain is not working. The Van Allen belt. I think it's called the Van Allen belt. I might be wrong. Where it is so dangerous, the radiation. They reckon it couldn't pass anyone through there, especially not on a ship that was made like of tinfoil that had the same computer in as my Golf, right? And survive. The radiation is absolutely lethal. There's people that could probably explain it away and say, yeah, they'd be fine. But as far as science says, that they would be deadly. It's deadly. So yeah, there's a few things out there at the minute that sort of like make you think. But I would attribute it more with other things.
Not the flat Earth. Yeah,
not flat Earth. Right. But it is some weird stuff out there in regards to the flat Earth theory. So that's all I'll say on that matter, because I don't want to be known. I'm not for anyone's conspiracy. If somebody believes something and they've got the evidence to back it up, I love it. Do you mean?
Yeah.
But me personally,
nowhere near convinced about a flat Earth.
No, yet. I'm not convinced about a flat Earth.
No. I think a lot of it is a psyop. Yeah. I think it's a psyop to get certain people believing something. And then when something genuine comes out, they can basically attribute it to, because if you think about it this way, when David Icke broke the stuff about the reptilians, right, there's a lot of people, which is quite interesting. There's an article about David Icke and the reptilian thing with the royal family on, I think it was on the Daily Mirror actually the other day, and it was basically an interview with Icke about his worldwide wake-up tour. And he talked about the legends and the fact that it's essentially these child abuse victims are basically saying when they've seen these things, and he kind of gives a sort of more, whether it's a paranormal edge to it or whether it's an extraterrestrial edge to it. Yeah. And the article did its best to almost kind of ridicule Icke like the mainstream media does. What was really interesting, because I was reading the comments on it, and so I think it was like the Richie Allen show had shared it, and someone said underneath, "Have you seen the poll?" And you have a look at the poll for it underneath. Do you believe that David Icke is a nutcase or onto something? And it was like something about 60% in his favour. Yeah. Which was quite strange. You would never have had that 10 years ago. There's no way in hell. There's no snowball's chance in hell. No. You would have had that 10 years ago. So if people are sort of more buying that now, because all the other stuff he's saying is coming true. He's saying about Ed Heath, which the information about that is coming out in June. Yeah. Which slightly off topic there. You heard about the North Wales. Not North Wales, sorry. The head of the investigation into Ted Heath saying he's 120% sure that Ted Heath was a paedophile. Yeah. So you've got all these things, like I said, that have basically coming true about the stuff from the Project New American Century, the Global Awakening, etc., truth vibrations, etc., and so people are starting to sort of realise it, not just with him, but it's just one example. But then, if you want to subvert that information, you would plant lies inside the truth. So you would put information in amongst that what you want people to believe and get upset about. Yeah. That is true. So it's enough to make it kind of believable. But it is actually something else, which is a mystery in its own right.
I hate, and I'm sorry about this, I hate people that fake videos.
Yeah, I do too.
Because that adds to the that is the gun. That is the bullet in their gun.
Of course it is.
I hate it. I really, it galls me. I don't know, if they didn't, they probably wouldn't be half as much to watch on YouTube. But that's another story. But yeah, it is. It's such. It's such a thing to keep secret. It's such an amazing thing to keep secret, because, like I said, the sightings we know, the sightings, our experiences of UFOs are so profound. But they do manage to subvert it. It's incredible.
Well, I was continuing back to it, because I went kind of around the houses a little bit there. I was on about Simon Parkes. Now, what I found quite incredible with the stuff that he came out with is he's done several predictions on his bi-weekly radio show, and a lot of it has come true. A lot of it, you know, again, it seems extremely, it's like Dolores Cannon. It's extremely fucking out there, some of the stuff he comes out, he to say. And, you know, he talks about the energetic grid, he talks about all these different sort of theories and different things connected with consciousness and what's happening on the earth and all. And, you know, when you listen to it or watch it, it seems so fantastical and sci-fi. But the stuff that he's actually said that's come true has been quite, you know, it's been quite incredible. He's even mentioned, you know, a thing about disclosure coming, or an announcement of disclosure coming recently. And, you know, a few days later, you have this NASA announcement that they found, you know, 3 Earth-like planets in the Goldilocks zone. You know, it's quite incredible. These contactees, continuously contactees, whether it's like telepathic, psychically, or, you know, physically, the stuff that they're saying does form a puzzle. And I think that puzzle is very much integrated with other things that are happening around the world. And I think it's basically, that's how the world really is. What we are seeing is the perception illusion of that, and, you know, all this other stuff is basically what's really sort of going on with it all. And what's, I suppose you're on about the word occult just simply means hidden. I think it's surprising how it's all linked together with all different forms of paranormal activity, and not just paranormal activity, but just normal activity, politics, you know, engineering, fucking.
It is a big thing in our world. UFOlogy is a massive. Is such. It's ingrained in us. It goes back, you know, to the Bible with Ezekiel. You know, where he describes being taken in a flying craft to a place in a city where they can move in pictures, and walls he can see through but he can't pass through, which would be windows. You know, he's describing things in his day. These things go back so far. It's incredible, like, and it's linked to everything. We got things in the churches about it, and it's ingrained in our culture. I mean, there's cities they find them around the world. I mean, the city in India, where there was this great space battle between a god, Krishna, is it Krishna, and this king, and there was basically a nuclear weapon fired, right? Because they flew around in.
What's this on, like tapestries and stuff? Is it?
This is their religion is incredibly older than ours. It's ridiculous.
Or Hinduism?
Yeah, it goes back like a couple of 100,000 years, and they found this place now, and they found this radiation. I mean,
where's this?
India. They found this city. They found it about.
Under the ocean, or?
Yeah, they found it about. Well, it was destroyed. And they found this radiation. They're picking up this radiation that they know has come from some sort of nuclear weapon or some sort of nuclear fallout. And it's just things like this. And they're talking about it because they've sent scientists there to, you know, look at this. But they're discovering it, and then they're keeping it secret.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, the Bible basically says that however many couple of thousand years ago, Adam and Eve, God made the earth. Dinosaurs have been put there because the devil did that, just to mug Christians off. I mean, come on. Like, I mean, our civilization. We are like 1 second to midnight, right? On the clock of the Earth's existence, right? 1 second to midnight. That's how long we've been around, right? So you take it.
That's where I've heard that before. Go on.
Yeah, if you take that, the history of our planet, how many times civilization could have been born and destroyed and born and destroyed is incredible. The odds of that are just astronomical. How many times that could have happened on our own Earth, let alone planets out there and different things. We could have come back, come back. And we just dismiss it. Oh, no, that can't have happened.
Well, our Earth is, 4.5 billion years old?
Yeah.
That's an insurmountable, an unimaginable amount of time.
Yeah.
Where, and okay, you can look at the fossilization of dinosaurs, but any sort of human structure, if any structure on this, if humanity was wiped out now, within 800 years, probably the only thing left would be a little bit of the Hoover Dam, and that is it.
Within 1 million years. Just 1 million years.
Yeah.
How many times history could repeat itself and be destroyed?
Exactly.
And disappear.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, it's incredible. So, we can go far out there and you can say this, that, but we got to look at our own system, our own planet, and how many times these things could have happened. And the evidence is there.
You just have to know where to look.
Yeah.
Indeed. Right, so that's bringing us to the end of this episode of the Now Debate. Is there anything you wanted to add before we finish up here today?
If you're interested in UFOs, right? Get out there and see these until you see it with your own eyes. You can see it all till your head falls off on the internet, right? But you need to see these things with your own eyes, right? So get out there. Summer's coming now. The nights are getting lighter. Get places with low light pollution. Take camcorders, take binoculars, and just get out there. They're not trying to capture anything. You're not trying to change the world. If you believe in this stuff wholeheartedly, get out there and try and see if you can see. And if you do capture something, brilliant, share it. Do you know what I mean? If you do, share it.
Yeah.
You can share it. Yes, I'll share it. I'll share it all day. And see for yourself. Like, it's not something you can watch it on YouTube and have your belief in it, but you have to see with your own eyes before you can really have really. Oh my God! Like, we witnessed lots of different things personally.
Most definitely.
And so yeah, get out there and have a look at these stories. Try and find these stories, and because there's some amazing ones. Like I said, there's just amazing ones in Wales. If you're listening to this locally or whatever, and you're in Wales, have a look. Like, what's on your doorstep, and you really will be blown away when it comes to the UFO stories. And I tell you what's interesting is how many people have a UFO story. We just we see eyewitnesses to these stories on the internet, but how many real people have a real UFO encounter? It's quite shocking and paranormal.
Most definitely. Well, thank you guys for listening. I've been Jared Walters. He's been Richard Oliver. Again, the website you can take a look at is www.paranormalnow.co.uk. The Now Debate will probably be moving to the Paranormal Now YouTube channel with our paranormal stuff, because I think this would be a good forum for us to keep updating people on cases and stuff. Yeah. So moving it to the paranormal channel is going to be a thing, I think. I don't know what's going to happen to the Jared and Sam YouTube channel yet. The jury's out on that, and it will be for a while we work on other projects. So this episode will go up on that on the Paranormal Now YouTube channel for now. And on facebook.com/spiritual paranormal now. Sorry, I said spiritual worlds then, which is now that site is being ruled away. And if you now want to take a look at what I'm up to personally, and you can also report your experiences and sightings to this site, and let us know if you want us to be shared publicly or privately, and be an ongoing part of this website, as well as our investigations and knowledge gathering on a great deal of subjects, where you can contribute your blogs, your articles, and I'm not plugging this much of mine, and your videos. It's www.worldsawakening.com. So So paranormalnow.co.uk and worldsawakening.com. Please stay tuned. By the time this video goes out, we will have the blog on the Victorian gentleman up with all the up-to-date information regarding that and our investigation that we are able to release at this time. And again, let us know what you think. We've asked several questions in this. Please leave your responses in the comment section below or email us directly through the website. Rich, thank you very much for joining me this evening. And we look forward to seeing you guys again soon. We're hoping now to have I think some of the issues now have been cleared up, so we should be going back to weekly broadcasts.
Yep, definitely.
Okay, and you'll be able to find them on the Paranormal Now YouTube channel and Facebook page. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. I'm enjoyed Walt. This is Richard Oliver. We'll speak to you again soon.
Bye.